This live coverage was brought to you by the ASUCM Elections Commission and Rice Tech Center and the TRB office.
Live from the TRB Commuter Lounge on day one of Decision 2024, where candidates go head-to-head like the finale of the Game of Thrones. It's ASUCM's presidential debate. And now, your host and moderator of tonight's debate, make some noise for ASUCM Selection Commissioner, Athena Eliza Sanchez.
Show of hands, who has voted? All right, we like to see that. So I will repeat, if you don't already know, that the voting times are from April 18th, that start at 10 a.m. and then they run until 10 p.m. and that is online voting. You can access it through ASUCM Elections Instagram. The QR code should be in the bio, as well as it should be posted. We do apologize for any of the confusions with the links. The voting ends at 10 p.m. on the 24th, which is next Wednesday. All physical locations will be starting at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at each, so today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then the polling locations also have residents, we have collaborated with Residents Ed, so they start from 11 to 4. Next slide, please. So how to vote. So who has voted online? Raise a hand, please. All right, so yes. So we did things a little bit differently from the last time. Instead of voting on Cat Life, we will be voting via the Qualtrics link, which is also on the QR code. It will be prompting to your SSO single sign-on because we want to make sure that we have all registered students voting. Staff, if you do decide to vote, your vote also counts, but as well as I don't think it lets you, unfortunately. But I'm so sorry. You can, if you want to stop by ASUCM, we will give you an incentive for showing some support. All right, so then who has voted on one of the physical locations? Not many of you. It's okay. It's okay. More will be there. Next slide, please. So again, as a repeat, the voting online, this is a QR code. If you do not have it yet, please feel free to screenshot it. Take a picture of it. But again, April 18th, and then it closes on the 24th. And this is from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So my night on Wednesday will be very occupied. Next slide, please. All right, and this is what the ballot looks like. I give thanks to JJ. I don't know if she is here, but she helped me until 3 a.m. last night fixing up this ballot. Next slide, please. All right, so voting locations. We have 12 voting locations. I do know that if most of you had seen the post previously, it did have LGBTQ Center in there, but unfortunately that will not be a physical location for polling. We want to respect the department and as well as those in there. But we have the API Resource Center Lounge, which is here in Sentinel. We have the Black Student Resource Center, which is located in Granite. We do have Scholars Lane, so Scholars Lane might be changed, but Scholars Lane is by the library, and then the next one is Multicultural Center, which is all the way in the back, so you have to hike up the hill. We have the TRV, the Commuter Lounge. So thank you again for J.O.V.E, Community Lounge, for collaborating. But it will be that table where Yasmin and Jack are. Yasmin and Jack say hi. Nice. All right. Academic walk will be by the pavilion. And then the Gala Recreation, Gala, which is the gym, will be in front. We have Student Career Center, which is also on Scholars Lane. And then we have the residence halls, the first floor from 11 to 4, and that will be El Portal, Sentinel Rock, Granite Pass, and Glacier Point. And thank you, Senator Jackie, current Senator Jackie, for helping me. All right, so at these voting locations, today was a bit of a rough start. So So we do apologize if not many of you had gotten insensitives, but there was a sticker drop for Uncle Sam, which you probably will see him later in the slides. I'm not Uncle Sam, sorry, Uncle Rufus. But we are going to give out, we're going to give out journals, stickers, tote bags, and voting shirts for one of the each days, and as well as nearby will be a sticker drop from ASUCM, which is Uncle Rufus, correction. And we also might be tabling with the law clinic. Just say hi. All right, next slide, please. All right, so the debate guidelines, we're going to put that on hold because who here wants pizza and food?
This live coverage will be back after pizza break.
No flex zone. No flex zone. They know better. They know better. Wanna go metal flex and a go.
We are right back with ASUCM's presidential debate.
Questions to you all, and you have actually 30 seconds to a minute to respond. And then executive candidates will have a minute to rebuttal questions or 30 seconds. The candidates, you can rebuttal if you are rebutting against someone. And then lastly, again, just to respect the principles of community during this forum. All right, so let's begin. Next slide, please. So for the Directors of Communications, we have Amar, Ellis, Andrew, Yasmin and Sophia, just stay there, but we'll have the Directors of Communications come up. Alright, so please introduce yourself, name, year, and major.
Hello, my name is Amar Salah. I'm a second-year business management economics major, and I'm from Modesto, California. I live here on campus. One thing that I like to do is take pictures. I don't know if you guys see me on campus, but I usually have my camera with me. Also, I've worked over 2 years for the admissions department for enrollment management, and I've worked maybe like 4 years, just general like marketing experience. So that's a little bit about myself.
Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Reed. I'm from Hollywood, California, from a Salvadorian family. Currently I'm a third-year computer science and engineering major with a minor in applied mathematical sciences. Some of the things that you may have seen me around is I am the Registered Clubs and Organizations Project Lead at the Office of Student Involvement. So I'm in charge of overseeing all 240 plus clubs and organizations. And I also spearhead marketing initiatives such as the marketing workshops that we hosted last month. I'm also part of Alpha Kappa Psi, which is the biggest professional fraternity on campus this semester, and the IT director for the Prestige. Oh, and then I guess like a fun fact about me is that I've played the violin for 7 years.
Alright, so now we're going to go into debate questions. So the first question is, what are the duties and responsibilities of your position? The second one is, what skills do you have when it comes to working with various media? The third one is, how do you plan to further enhance the social media platforms in the view of ASUCM to inform students about events and resources? And then tell us what you know about the website and what improvements it needs to have. So, Amar, if you want to go first.
Okay, so some of the duties and responsibilities that I've understood from the Director of Communications is kind of like general social media outreach just within ASUCM and like the student body and like between the student body and the administration. Some of the skills that I have when it comes to working with various media, I've done a lot of experience just in different sectors like with like web development, social media, and like with flyers and logos, so I can kind of like apply myself wherever I need to. One way that I plan to enhance the social media platforms with ASUCM and inform students like about events is I personally wanted to add to my campaign like a program where we can connect all of the campus resources, like all of the social media channels that want to support students and that want to inform everybody about the things going on. So I just want to create a platform that everyone can like come together and like collaborate like with the people that manage like the basic needs and like financial wellness and things like that, just so we can collaborate. So one thing that I know about the website and improvements that it needs to have is we don't really have like too much like visible representation for our students and like the liveliness that happens on campus. When you look at the ASUCM website right now, there's like a lot of helpful information, but there's nothing that really shows off what our campus has to offer and like what else there is to see here.
Alright, I guess to kind of break down each question, the first one, what are the duties and responsibilities of Director of Communications? Well, from my point of view, it's basically the person that kind of spearheads the publicity and marketing of ASUCM. They're kind of the liaison between, I guess, the rest of ASUCM and the campus as a whole, and the public as well. Sort of the public relations person, if you will. And that includes the marketing, whether it's flyers, photography, videography, and of course the website. On to the second question, what skills do you have when it comes to working with various media? So throughout my various extracurriculars and experiences, I have experience with, I would say, all the forms of media, whether it's flyer making with Canva through posts on OSI, or videography, whether it's like reels, videos such as filming at Treats and Beats and Coachella, or as we call it now, Caltopia. And website development, I did forget to mention I'm also the website developer for CAB. So ASUCMCAB.com is the website that I kind of made the past summer, and I completely revamped the way it looks. So I understand web development, whether it's using platforms such as Wix or Squarespace, or through my computer science skills, coding it from scratch. Currently AKSI is doing their Feel Week, and I completely coded the website from scratch with HTML and CSS coding. How do you plan to further enhance the social media platforms to the view of ASUCM to inform students about events and resources? So one thing that I've noticed with Instagram and like social media in general is that people like to see people and not really flyers. If you post a flyer, it'll get 30 likes. If you post a person, it gets 100 likes. So I think it's really just highlighting the people within ASUCM to the public and making sure people know who ASUCM is, and not necessarily what it is. Finally, tell us what you know about the website, what improvements it needs to have. I think kind of just to emphasize my last point, I think the website needs to really highlight the people within ASUCM that make the student body work. And if I happen to be Director of Communication, I would really want to highlight the people within it. So yeah.
Thank you, candidates. Do you both want to, in 30 seconds, to rebuttal each answers that you had from questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much for, these are the directors of communications who are candidates. Next slide, please. All right, so the next director we have is student advocacy. Yeah. All right, so please introduce yourself, name, year, and major.
Hello everyone, my name is Yasmin Teran Salazar. I am a second year political science major, and I'm currently serving as the senator at large. So I'm going into poli-sci because I want to be an immigration lawyer, and just decided to run for this position because I have a strong passion for advocacy. Thank you.
All right, so for the first question is, how do you ensure that all students have access to the resources they need to succeed in school? What strategies the second question is, what strategies do you use to build relationships with students in order to help them feel comfortable discussing their needs?
Thank you. So for the first question, I think it goes hand in hand with what we just discussed with Director of Communications. I think nowadays a lot of the information that students get is in social media. So if I were to have this position, I would work hand in hand, not just with all the other executives, but also with the Director of Communications to ensure that the information that we have and all the resources that we have on campus, especially in our office, are showcased, and that students, especially incoming first-year students or transfer students, know that we have. So for the second question, I think just working closely with clubs. Working as a senator right now, I've reached out to clubs. I've had one-on-one meetings with clubs, ensuring that I am listening to their needs, and I will continue to have that connection as I move or transition into a different position, which is the position that I'm running for right now.
Thank you, Yasmin. Give it up for Yasmin, as she's the only candidate for Director of Advocacy. Next slide. Next up, we have Director of Student Activities, Sophia. Wait, they missed a slide, but just introduce yourself for name, year, and major.
Hello everyone, my name is Sophia Velasquez. I'm a third-year political science major from Los Angeles.
All right. So your debate questions are: describe a time when you had to organize a large event. What was your strategy? Which is event planning and organization. And then the second one is: what changes or improvements do you think are needed at our school? How would you create events to make these changes or improvements for more student engagement?
Okay, well, if some of you may not know, within my positions of student activity this past year, not only do I run the campus activities board alongside with my grade E board members and general board members, but I also help out with club funding as well. And there is a small committee within ASUCM, which is the Student Activities Committee, which this year we've done a lot of great events. If you haven't came out to any of them, you definitely missed out. But for some of our events, a lot of the senators were new to event planning, so it was great being able to kind of show the ropes and help them with student affairs and all of that. So one of my times of organizing a large event within campus activities boards is always Treats and Beats, and now known as Cowtopia. Those are some of our larger events that we host. And hosting those large events, it not only takes one person, it takes a whole community to have those events come out, and especially when it's things with staging or anything like that, it definitely comes into a hassle when event planning. Some of our smaller events, we hosted a frog hunt for leap year this year, and one of our struggles was making sure that all the frogs were found and hiding them. So we did a great job of creating a list of how many numbers of frogs we had and numbering them. And so my amazing committee members went and we stayed till like midnight, 1 a.m. finding frogs all around campus, so I hope you found some. For the changes and improvements that I think that are needed at our school, I definitely feel like more student engagement is definitely needed. For our events, we have had some great turnouts. We had a Student Appreciation Day where we gave out crumble cookies, and we had 600 students show out for some free crumble cookies, which was amazing. We've had a barbecue where our amazing senators did a barbecue, and we had about 300 students show out. So I think definitely more student engagement on campus life. A lot of students don't know what's out there, and maybe that's on our part where it comes to promoting. So I would feel definitely promoting better, and like how Andrew said, putting a face instead of a flyer to it. If you guys have any event ideas, please let us know.
The next position we have is treasurer, which is Zulette. Please come up. Next slide. Please introduce yourself, your name, year, and major.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Zulette Arduna. I am currently a second-year student majoring in biological sciences, specifically with the emphasis in human biology and a soon-to-be psychology minor. I currently serve as one of the senators for the School of Natural Sciences and have had the pleasure of serving in the Small Appropriations Board, also known as SAB, and also serving as a representative from ASUCM for our Student Fees Advisory Committee, which oversees all campus-wide fees.
All right, so for your debate questions, I'll speak to you this side. What issues are the student body facing on campus that pertain to the elections position you're running for? The second one is how would you prioritize budget allocations in the Bobcat community with competing demands from various departments and programs?
Some of the issues we face are current admission rates are currently stagnant, so our campus fee is set, but because due to enrollment rates, the number of students we have determines the amount we have for ASUCM's budget. One of the main problems that SAB tends to face is that every student and every club has specific needs, and sometimes we are unable to fulfill every demand or request of, that all the clubs come to us for. I have the pleasure of also serving throughout the entire duration of the budget call session. So I was able to get a first glance view of where our allocations go to certain clubs and organizations, as well as our departments and other initiatives on campus. I would prioritize by simply abiding to our bylaws, our financial bylaws, and ensuring that everything is within OSI guidelines because it was heavily enforced within this year, and I wish to continue that strong relationship with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Zillette. Next up, we have executive candidates for external vice president. We have so in a minute, please introduce yourself, your major, and name.
Hi, I'm Kira Jones. I'm a first year but second year standing, and I'm a poli-sci major with a minor in psych, and I hope to be a criminal defense attorney and in the future a Supreme Court justice.
Hi, my name is Gabriela Martinez. Hola, mi nombre es Gabriela Daniel Martinez y estoy aprendiendo español. I am a first year and I am currently majoring in political science with an emphasis in American politics, and I'm also minoring in economics.
Thank you for introductions. For your debate questions, the first one is, what issues are the student body facing on campus that pertain to the elections position you're running for? And then as external vice president, there may be some situations where you need to navigate competing interests from multiple areas or negotiate with external stakeholders to achieve your objectives. Can you provide an example of a time when you successfully managed such a situation in previous leadership roles?
Okay, so as far as the issues that the student body is facing on campus that pertain to my role, I would definitely say that we need to address the housing crisis, which is really big, especially here, but also as in other UCs as well. And in my role, I would be collaborating with other UCs as well to address these needs. So I think that that's definitely one of the main focuses that I have. An example of a time where I had to successfully manage a situation was my senior year of high school, actually. There was a child abuse policy which needed a lot of reform. So I had created a completely new policy adding that necessary reform, and I had showed it to the school board, which they didn't agree with it initially. So there was a lot of compromise and a lot of, negotiation, but it was successfully established and is now part of Fresno Unified School District.
Okay, I think one of the biggest issues right now that students on our campus are facing would have to be financial aid assistance. And I would like to mention that I had just gotten back from DC yesterday. I was lobbying for financial aid for students, student equity. I made sure to talk to our representatives about doubling the Pell Grant, and I also want to make you all aware that there are currently 300,000 students that are that are eligible for the Cal Grant, and these students are not receiving the money that they need in order to complete their educational journey. Alright, and then, okay, let's see. I can think of one time also when I was in high school. I actually organized a protest on our campus because our administration was not acknowledging the sexual assault cases on campus. So as a survivor myself, I decided to take initiative and stand up for these people who are shamed. Yeah, it was a tough situation, but I did face backlash from the administration, but I did bring new services such as there's a program called STESA, Standing Together to End Sexual Assault. I made that aware to my own administration on my own high school campus, and now that resource is available for any students who are experiencing sexual assault.
Candidates, you have 30 seconds to rebuttal each response if you would wish, would like to. Do you both want to rebuttal? Okay, thank you so much. All right. So the internal vice president who is running is Lawson. However, I do not see him. No, Miguel? Okay, I do not see him. But this is Lawson. Next slide, please. Yeah, his question, go back to his question. His question, Miguel, if he ever comes, is internal vice president oversees the internal operations of ASUCM and must hold responsibilities including managing committees, coordinating events, and fostering a positive organizational culture. How do you plan to effectively lead and support the internal functions of ASUCM? So if he decides to speak while he's running, that will be his question. All right, next slide, please. All right, so let's give it up for last but not least the presidential candidates, which is Devlin and All right, so please introduce yourself, your name, year, major, however, which way you want to address yourself.
Hello everybody, my name is Devlin Smith. I'm a first-year psychology major here on campus, and I'm planning to do a double major in cognitive science. I'm involved here on campus in many activist organizations and campaigns, including Students for Justice in Palestine and the Youth Democratic Socialists of America. And I'm also a student intern with California Common Good, which is a nonprofit for housing equity. So yeah, thank you for all coming.
Hello everyone. I think I recognize almost everybody in here, so it's nice to see all these familiar faces, but for those of you that I haven't met yet, just so you're aware, my name is Miguel Craven. I'm a third-year mechanical engineering major here on campus, and I proudly get to serve currently as your ASUCM president. I also previously served as one of your senators for the School of Engineering back during my sophomore year. But yeah. And I'm really excited to be here today and see you all again and hopefully get your vote as well in the election.
There are issues that the student body is facing on campus. If you were president, how would you work to resolve the issues in order to support the Bobcat community? And the second one is ASUCM works on wide ranges of issues and initiatives that impact the student experiences, such as student services, campuses, safety, diversity and inclusion, and academic policies. Can you provide examples in specific initiatives or campaigns you would like to prioritize and achieve as president of ASUCM? Yeah, you can do one question at a time. Oh. Yeah. You do that.
So to answer the first question about issues that student bodies facing on campus, as I mentioned, I am part of a lot of activist organizations, and I believe that an issue that many students are facing here on campus is struggling to have their voice heard, especially to administration. As president, I will work with the student body and with administration as a liaison, as a sole representative of ASUCM to help bridge that gap and get student concerns and issues heard by administration here on campus.
So I'm actually gonna kind of bounce off of two different things. So one of them that Devlin mentioned, being that students feel like they're not being heard here on campus. I think that's a valid concern that I've been trying to address throughout my term here as president. I've been working a lot very closely with our administration here on campus. I think probably the closest out of any previous president. Luckily, I've gotten to serve currently as a student observer with the student regents, which just means I get to sit on one of their committees and give some time to speak. But more than anything, the greatest outcome that has come out of that is being involved specifically with the chancellors of all the the entire UC system, but especially on our campus, which has been extremely beneficial and a huge kind of connection to have, especially when trying to get these efforts on campus. So since then, I've really worked closely with them and constantly updating them a lot of the things I hear from students. Though I may not be the most active and kind of outwards, as many of you know, I'm not very present on social media. I'm not a huge social media person. But where you have seen me otherwise is I'm very passively involved on campus. I'm not going to be actively going out to clubs directly and going up to people just as they're walking by all the time, trying to get their concerns. But more than anything, you'll see me passively working just in my day-to-day interactions, whether that be here on campus, within classes, in passing, in the halls, or if that's going to be off campus as well at different events. You'll see me always talking to students and hearing what their concerns are and what they have been saying. So that's been one of the ways I've been trying to resolve these issues and escalating them to administration. And then we'll highlight another thing kind of within that has been a huge unrest, I think, across the entire UC system in regards to investments across the UC campuses and how money is being invested. So the way that I've been working on that and tackling it, not just on our campus, but specifically at the entire UC level, has been in that student observer position, working with the UC Office of the President's financial department specifically, trying to get them to really go forward, which luckily they seem very receptive to the idea of making a quick facts sheet for students to be able to know where their tuition dollars are going along with their student fee dollars and where money moves around in the university. So hopefully that's one of the things I'll get to see. The last thing that I really wanted to touch on quickly, and I know was kind of mentioned by some of the senators actually or the candidates for senators this week, was specifically on I guess kind of community engagement and life here on campus. So one of the big projects I've been working on that I don't think anybody has really gotten to see, sadly, and was supposed to be presented for this election, but due to just complications outside of my control, it's not being presented during this election. But I've been working on pretty much nonstop on a student union referendum for our campus in trying to get us a student union building, which I think is a critical component of any university that anybody attends, having that kind of student space for any kind of, whether that be departments or any student services or for clubs to have or some kind of recreational space as well. This building could house all of that, and the greatest part is that's all owned by students. So students get full say and control over this building, and this would be something that is crucial to our campus, especially as we're going to expand. So those are the two issues that I see and kind of how I plan to resolve them.
Would you both like to rebuttal each other on the answers you provided? No? Okay. All right, thank you again. Just stay up here, please. All right, we do have 20 more minutes, so I'm just going to ask the audience. It's only one question for one person, but all candidates who have spoken today, can you please make your way up? But for the audience, if you do have questions, just one question only, please. Please line up fashionably in the middle. I'm opening it up to questions, but all of you speaking only have one mic to the candidates. I'll hold them.
So my first question today, my only question today is for candidate Craven. In November, you vetoed SR4, a resolution that called upon divestment from the UC system's compliance in supporting Israel in carrying out a genocide in Gaza. Despite this resolution, Despite this resolution having an overwhelming support from the student body, the most in ASUCM history, I believe there were over 150 students who stayed up till 3 a.m. advocating for SR4 to be passed. I wanted to ask you how confident you feel about your ability in completing your duties as president and truly representing your constituents.
So yes, I will completely own up to having vetoed that bill. I'll be fully transparent, as I was kind of with the statement that I released when I vetoed the bill, which was that at the time I think there was a bit of unrest within the Senate as well as how they felt, but then at the same time just within me.
No, to specify, I'm asking about the fact that, not the fact that the resolution was vetoed, but it was attempted to be vetoed. It was the fact that you didn't even veto it yourself, and you were found guilty of not following proper protocol when it came to the veto process. As far as transparency is concerned, you didn't even have the confidence as president to take a firm stance in vetoing the bill, and you took every opportunity to avoid accountability by leaving the decision to your executive board. You understand what I'm saying?
So yeah, no, but I was being, just to be transparent, like I was in that meeting, yes, I had worked with my executive board to do that decision, and that is because within the Constitution, I am technically the chair of the executive board. This was a resolution that I felt that the situation at hand should have been escalated to the executive team as well to get their input, especially because the biggest concern was that some of the senators wanted to include some of the directors within the closed session conversation. However, because of the nature of closed session and with the fact that we wanted to kind of keep it limited to just the senators' work and their work purely on that bill, the directors weren't included. So in order to kind of keep their voices within it as well, I decided to use that ability and congregate all of us as an executive board to work on that and decide upon the executives how they felt about the resolution. That is why once the executives came to that decision, that the veto was released. And as far as addressing your concern regarding how I feel about representing my constituents here on campus, while I will fully admit to the fact that I don't think most constituents here on campus agreed with my decision completely, and I completely understand that and recognize that, I think it was just more of a measure kind of at the moment since there was a lot going on and that the resolution was brought up very last minute to an extent that there were a lot of changes being made. And I think that the resolution needed some more work, that kind of gave that time so that the senators could work together and really put out a resolution that they felt confident in. And ultimately, I think that kind of helped all the constituents here on campus feel proud of what the senators were able to put forward finally.
Next person. Who are you addressing this question to? Yes.
Alright, so my question is, among most of Senate, there has been a general consensus that we should prioritize funding for engineering conferences because they provide students with jobs, while social and cultural clubs only make students happy. How would you address the budget as executives to ensure that every RCO has equitable access to funding?
Who would like to answer?
Hello, Neil. Good afternoon. How are you? I'm good. Thank you for asking the question. Again, like I had stated, because of our admissions rates, our admission rates have been stagnant within the past year or two. We're only allocated a certain amount because of our campus-based fees. Yes, with the recently passed budget for the next fiscal year, there could have been changes to properly allocate and give to each organization. But again, it is a case-by-case basis and what information we are provided, because there was a lot of inconsistencies within the proposals and the presentations themselves, and there was a lot of problems after, we should have reconsidered and revoted and revised the budget more, but think that mainly pertains to, again, my role as treasurer. Yes, executives also have a say in it, but again,
I'll just answer that really quickly and kind of highlight that I think, like I've told you in discussion before, that yes, during the budget call process, we do generally fund more of the engineering RCOs for their conferences and those big bills, and for their projects as well. But the reason for that is more because of trying to get the allocation out of the way early on in the year, especially since once the fiscal year starts on July 1st, a lot of them started using those funds. However, I will be completely honest, I am fully in support for a lot of these cultural and social clubs as well to be able to get funding. As back when I was a senator, if you look, most of the bills I passed were actually cultural bills. I was in full support of getting a lot of those across rather than engineering RCOs, despite me being a senator for the School of Engineering, because I recognize that the importance of these events are crucial to our campus and creating that community here on campus. So I'll let you know that as president, I will ensure that all of the general funds that come through or any of the SAP bills, that a lot of those are ending up in more the hands of the cultural clubs and the social clubs, since they are the ones that don't get access necessarily immediately from budget call, that they'll get equal access and probably being prioritized over the engineering RCOs, since the engineering RCOs already have all the funding that they need at this point. So that's how I will ensure that they maintain that kind of equitability on campus.
All right, thank you. Since it is only 10 more minutes till 8, I am shutting off questions. I am unfortunately sorry. If you do want to speak to them, then speak to them outside when this event ends, because we only have a limited time with the TRV Center. Can I get all the candidates from Meet the Candidates as well as the executive candidates up in front, so that way everyone can see who they're really ASUCM for 2024 to 2025 might be.
This has been DCB Live's primetime coverage of the 2024 ASUCM's presidential debate.
This program is once again brought to you by ASUCM Elections Commission, Bright Success Center, and the TRV office.
Thanks for watching.